Picture this. You see someone who suddenly starts talking about how the entire world is an illusion, how they've understood the secrets of the universe, how reality isn't what it seems. The first thought most people have: this person has lost their mind. But what if they simply woke up? The boundary between psychosis and awakening is thinner than we think. And here's the paradox. Those who truly begin to see reality, as it is often, appear insane in the eyes of those who continue to sleep. Why does this happen? Because our consciousness works like a security guard. It protects us from information that could destroy our familiar picture of the world. When someone starts talking about things beyond accepted norms, the alarm goes off. Danger! This person threatens our stability. But there's a fundamental difference. A person in psychosis loses connection with reality. They stop distinguishing between fantasy and actuality. A person experiencing awakening, on the contrary, begins to see reality more clearly. They understand that much of what was considered real was simply conventions, thinking habits, imposed beliefs. True transformation isn't losing your mind, it's gaining the ability to see what was always there but remained hidden behind a veil of familiar perceptions. It's like you've been looking at the world through dark glasses your whole life and suddenly took them off. Society fears such people, not because they're actually dangerous, but because their presence questions the entire structure that holds up the collective illusion of normalcy. If this person is right, does that mean we're all living wrong? It's easier to declare them crazy than admit. What if they see what we don't? History is full of examples. Galileo was a heretic for claiming Earth revolves around the sun. Ignaz Semmelweis, who suggested washing hands before surgery, was driven to madness by colleagues. Tesla seemed insane with his talk of wireless energy transmission. What united them? They saw beyond accepted frameworks. Their perception went beyond what was considered possible in their times. And society reacted predictably, with rejection, fear, attempts to silence them. The same thing happens today with those who begin understanding the nature of consciousness, the connectedness of everything, the illusory nature of many social constructions. They're labelled dreamers, mystics, and in extreme cases, mentally unhealthy. But how do you distinguish true awakening from mental disorder? First sign, the person doesn't lose the ability to function in the ordinary world. They simply begin understanding it differently. Second, their changes bring more harmony, not chaos to their life. Third, they don't try to force their vision on others. They simply live differently. Real transformation makes a person more whole, not fractured, more connected to reality, not detached from it, more capable of love and understanding, not aggression and isolation. Why does the brain resist new perception of reality so fiercely? The answer lies in how our mind is wired. Think of consciousness as a house you've lived in for decades. Every room has its place, every object its purpose. And someone comes and suggests tearing down walls, rearranging everything. Your first instinct isn't curiosity, it's panic. The brain operates on pattern recognition. It takes shortcuts, creates mental maps, builds assumptions about how things work. This isn't laziness, it's survival. If you had to consciously analyse every single piece of information coming at you, you'd be paralysed. So the mind creates filters, categories, automatic responses. But here's the trap. Those same mechanisms that help us navigate daily life become prison walls when it's time to grow. When new information challenges our core beliefs about reality, the brain doesn't say, "How interesting." It says, "Error, error, reject, reject." This is why transformation feels so threatening. It's not just changing your opinion about something small. It's questioning the entire operating manual you've been using to make sense of existence. And that manual, it's connected to your identity, your relationships, your place in the world. Social pressure amplifies this fear exponentially. We're a pack animals. Being different from the group once meant death. That ancient programming still runs in the background. When you start seeing things others don't see, feeling things others don't feel, understanding things others don't understand, alarm bells go off. You're becoming an outsider. You're risking exile. Look around. How many people do you know who are genuinely willing to question their fundamental assumptions about life? Most prefer the comfort of shared delusions to the loneliness of truth. It's easier to stay asleep with everyone else than wake up alone. The fear isn't just about being wrong, it's about being responsible. When you truly understand how consciousness works, how thoughts create reality, how interconnected everything is, you can't play victim anymore. You can't blame circumstances, other people, bad luck. You become responsible for your experience, and that's terrifying. There's another layer. True awakening often means seeing through the stories that give people's lives meaning. The story that working hard guarantees success. The story that external achievements bring happiness. The story that you are separate from everything around you. When these stories crumble, what's left is something much more real. But initially, it feels like nothing, like standing at the edge of an abyss. The old structures that held your world together are gone, and the new understanding hasn't fully formed yet. This transition period is where many people get stuck or turn back. Society reinforces the fear by pathologizing transformation. We have labels ready: midlife crisis, mental breakdown, spiritual bypassing. We medicalize the natural process of growth. We turn the hero's journey into a psychiatric condition. But here's what they don't tell you. The fear you feel before transformation. It's not warning you about danger. It's the old version of yourself, fighting for survival. It knows that if you truly change, it will cease to exist. So it creates every possible reason why you should stay the same. The people around you might unconsciously resist your transformation too. Not because they don't love you, but because your change threatens their own sleep. If you can wake up, what does that say about their choice to keep dreaming? Technical moment. If what you're hearing right now resonates within you, hit subscribe. This shows that the information is valuable. Understanding this mechanism is half the battle. When you know that resistance is natural, expected, even necessary, you stop fighting it and start working with it. You realize that the very intensity of the fear often indicates how significant the transformation will be. There comes a moment when staying the same becomes more painful than changing. You've probably felt it, that growing discomfort with your own life, like wearing clothes that no longer fit. The old patterns stop working. The old explanations sound hollow. The old dreams feel empty. This isn't breakdown. This is breakthrough knocking at your door. How do you know when you're ready for real transformation? First sign, you start questioning things you never questioned before. Not just big philosophical questions, but everyday assumptions. Why do I do this job? Why do I react this way? Why do I believe what I believe? The unexamined life suddenly feels unbearable. Second sign, coincidences multiply. Books appear with exactly what you need to read. Conversations happen that address your exact questions. People show up who understand what you're going through. It's as if reality itself is conspiring to support your awakening. Third sign, you become comfortable with not knowing. Instead of needing answers for everything, you start appreciating mystery. Instead of trying to control outcomes, you begin trusting the process. This isn't giving up. It's tuning into a deeper intelligence that operates beyond your personal will. But here's the crucial part. How do you transform without losing yourself completely? The key is understanding that you're not destroying who you are. You're uncovering who you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning, fear, and social programming. Think of it like archaeology. You're not building a new person from scratch. You're carefully removing the accumulated debris to reveal the authentic self that was always there. Every false belief you release, every limiting pattern you break, reveals more of your true nature. The process isn't gentle. Real transformation burns. It burns away everything that isn't truly you. Your ego will protest. Your mind will create stories about why this is dangerous. People around you might not recognize the new you, but what emerges from this fire is more real than anything you've ever experienced. Here's what most people don't understand about awakening. it doesn't make you special. It makes you ordinary in the most profound way. You stop trying to be someone and start being no one in particular. Paradoxically, this is when you become most authentically yourself. You'll notice your priorities shift completely. Things that once seemed incredibly important, status, opinions of others, material success, become background noise. Things you barely noticed before, the quality of your attention, the depth of your presence, the authenticity of your connections become primary. The fear doesn't disappear overnight, but it changes quality. Instead of the paralyzing fear of loss, it becomes the exhilarating fear of infinite possibility. Instead of, what if I lose everything? It becomes, what if anything is possible? Not everyone around you will understand or support this change. Some relationships will end. Some dreams will die. Some identities will crumble. This isn't failure. It's clearing space for what wants to emerge through you. The most beautiful part, once you truly begin this journey, there's no going back. Not because you can't, but because you won't want to. The old way of being starts feeling like wearing a costume that no longer fits. You can't pretend to be asleep once you've tasted what it means to be awake. Your transformation gives others permission to transform. Not through preaching or convincing, but through the simple fact of living differently. When people see someone who has stepped out of the collective trance, it reminds them that they can too. The world needs people who are willing to question everything, to see through illusions, to live authentically. Not because it's easy, but because it's time. If this video changed something in you, write in the comments, I choose to see clearly. Write this as your promise. Nobody,